Hello there! Today is day 36 of working on a currently untitled project, so let's hop right in. Just to preface all this, I'm going to shift my recording schedule to the following mornings, rather than recording at night, because, I was starting to get, just in general, I'm really tired at night, and I have started to yawn through the entire recording each time, and I'd rather do it when I'm more rested. So, this is going to be a minor shake-up, so... Anyways, so this is what I have now. I tested out, changing the positions of the votes based on the colors. You can see I can adjust that. Oh, right, I did not fix that bug last night. There's an underlying bug that, shifts everything, forward. Just along the z-axis if I turn the amplitude up. I was playing around with how I was offsetting things, and I need to change that because that doesn't look good. That just looks wrong. But apart from that, yeah, so I set up so that the votes can change the positions based on the vertex colors that are set when the whole mesh is merged together. And I also set up so each triangle has a unique color to it, as you can see. And there's also a tint that's running around. That looks a lot better when it's slow. This is a bit similar to how I'm doing the Wanderer. I don't know, right now... this is still in development. I can still do a few more passes on it to make it look better just as is, but it's not resonating with me the way that I was hoping it might. I had to change the model a fair bit to accommodate the vertex offsets properly, and the making it look good when each triangle is set to its own color rather than what we had before. Where, there were a lot more vertices, and the triangles were more like this. I don't know, I tried it on this, and, partially it was because the offsets, I can show this. Now I will temporarily turn this off so that that's not a problem, but this just didn't, and this is before the edge splits, so there are obvious other problems with this, but just the distortion didn't look right. It didn't, I don't know. So I wanted to try something else, and none of this is resonating with me right now, unfortunately. This is better, but it's still not good. So, still work in progress. I'll make another pass at it, but I may just set this aside for a while and return to other stuff and just, yeah, because I've spent a long time on art at this point, and a lot of days at least on art. And I need to move on to other things, especially as the year is ending, and as I know that someone else might be joining the team, so I want to start prepping things for their arrival as well. So there's a bunch of cleanup to do, and so on and so forth, and Anyways, I think I'm getting into the ramble section, so if you would like to listen to me ramble, feel free to stick around. If you want to head on out, feel free to do so. So... for setting it so only the top votes can move around, the process for that is setting the vertex colors in Blender. Yeah, basically this is what the vertex colors look like right now. By painting them blue or white, I can control whether or not, because the offset is controlled through the RNG channels, the red and green channels. In here, I set the red and green channels to be -1 to 1 and multiply that by whatever color currently exists on that mesh at that point. So if the red and green channels are 0, in other words, if the vertex is blue, then there will be no offset. And the alpha and blue are just set to 1 here, because for the for setting up the colors per triangle, same basic process, only red and green this time are 1, so they're left unchanged, and blue and alpha are a random range, and then all 3 vertices get set to the same color, and I use the edge split modifier to split apart all the different triangles. And I have to, one of the issues is that in the model itself I have to then split everything into triangles like this manually. I can't have any quads, otherwise it doesn't look right, because the edge split will split apart the quad and it won't split apart the actual triangles. I could also just apply a triangulate modifier, but I want it to look, I don't know, I just felt like it wouldn't look quite right if it'd look a bit too random if I used a triangulate modifier. So that was my hunch, at least. Yeah, I don't know. This, again, is an attempt at this. Oh, and as noted, this is slightly different than what's being seen in Editor right now. I'm going to try out a new version where I have the vertices on the ends rather than one in the center. See if that alleviates some of the problems I'm having, but it's unlikely. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really happy with how it's coming together. I like the premise, though. I really like the premise. It's just not coming together the way I was hoping. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say on that other than just, Oh, and I also changed the inner corner to have this diagonal rather than a corner, because otherwise you ended up with vertices, here, and you ended up with these really thin triangles that if this vertex moved too far over like this, it would start overlapping, and that looked really bad. And so I swapped it to this design, which might be preferable anyways. It doesn't look quite right because it's thinner than it should be, but it may just be a case of I'm not sure people will really notice. So, or maybe it's noticeable and it just looks wrong. I don't really know at this point. Another thing to consult with my art friend about once I eventually get a chat with her. Yeah. So yeah, the only last interesting note is, I can't set this material directly in Editor. The problem is that, because of how it changes the vertex positions, you end up with it looking like this. And, well, obviously this doesn't look good. It's certainly interesting, but yeah. It also just, like, I could make a different shader that would mimic what the results a bit better, but even then you don't get, like, the property effect of the distortion or the vertex colors until it's actually baked and each mesh has its own individual set of vertex colors. So, there's no real good visualization for it, except just baking it. I could make a thing within the editor that could, bake it out, and you could preview it within the editor directly, rather than having to play each time. But right now, it's easy enough to just play the game and just see what it looks like, so that's what I'm doing. Anyways, that's about it. If you have any comments, questions, ideas, or anything else on your mind, leave a comment below. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care, and Happy New Year! I hope everyone has a good one.